Progressive presents Mindfulness with Flow.
Before you lies a beautiful meadow. In that meadow, Progressive Direct has placed its auto insurance rates alongside those of competitors. You select the lowest rate and feel a great sense of calm. A great sense of...
Compare Progressive Direct rates with competitors' rates so you can rest easy. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Author Chat Show. I'm your host, Lynda D. Brown. My guest today is author Ronald Chapman. Ronald is stopping by the Author Chat Show to discuss his new release, My Name is Wonder, A Tale of Adventure. Ron, welcome to the show. Okay, I forgot to. There we go. Okay, Ron, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be with you live and in person.
My goodness. Well, you know, Ron, and while I have him on the show, I was mentioning to Ron before the show started that I'm going to be ending the broadcast around, I think my last show is going to be the 13th of May. Here's one of the reasons why. I have an intro clip that should have played, and it's no longer popping up. But we're not going to worry about that. Ronald, welcome to the show.
Thanks. We just soldier on despite the technological challenges.
That's what we have to do, Ron. This
That's
is your
exactly
first
right.
appearance on the This is your first appearance on the Author Chat Show. Why don't we get started with you telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, great. Well, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I have for the last 6 or 7 years, although I'm spent many years in the state of New Mexico, Albuquerque specifically. And I have a couple of consulting businesses, but I've written 4 books and 2 audio sets, and got a couple more books in the hopper right now that I'm working on. So anybody who's listening knows that authors just can't stop writing, can they, Lynda?
That is absolutely correct. We try to do other things, and we always go back to writing. Now, Ron, how long have you been writing commercially, where you've actually been publishing your work?
I began working on my first published book, What a Wonderful World, Seen Through New Eyes, back in 2002, and it was published in 2004. And, of course, like many authors, I was writing long before that, just not for publication.
Okay, wonderful. And tell us what compelled you to write My Name is Wonder, A Tale of Adventure.
I got this thing about goats, Lynda, and I don't know when I became a goat lover, but so that's kind of background. I was actually on a writing vacation in Victoria, British Columbia, and I was actually working on finishing up my third book, Killer's Grace, and so I went out walking one day, and there's this giant park right in the middle of Victoria that overlooks the ocean, and I'm just walking through there, minding my own business. I'm out for an urban trek, backpack, laptop, books to read, etc., and I came across a petting zoo right smack in the middle of this park, and in the middle of the petting zoo were a small collection of goats, and I was captivated by the goats on that day. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, and in the middle of this goat experience I'm having, a murder of crows. For those who don't know, it's not a flock of crows; it's a murder of crows showed up and just raised hell. And it was one of those. It was one of those transcendent moments. I mean, these beautiful goats and a bunch of crows making a racket, and I hung out there for a while. And then when I was done, I threw my backpack on and I just started walking. And right in the middle of the park, all of a sudden, this story, My Name is Wonder, just downloaded out of nowhere. The muses, the authors might call it. And I rushed to a coffee shop just as soon as I could, pulled out my laptop, and hammered out an outline for a story of a goat named Wonder, who's
Okay.
extraordinarily curious and so forth. And he goes on a spiritual quest with his spirit guide, a crow named Mac Crack Crow. And it's actually 2 treks that they go on, and it's a spiritual parable or allegory generally for adults, but it also works pretty well for teen readers. And so, I mean, like, why not write a book about a goat on a spiritual quest, right?
Right. And I can see the appeal, Ron, for teens, for the YA audience that are actually also searching for some type of spiritual quest, awakening. So I could see that. Now, what's funny about this is when I got the information from your publicist about the book, I actually thought it was a children's book, but it's not. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. It's in the spirit of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which so many knew so well, from many years ago when Richard Bach published it, and so it's a teaching book. It's a way to explore spiritual principles through story. The great tradition of narrative that we've held so much of our cultural truths by, and it's one of my reviewers said it's a description of the noble path, is how he described it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty light-filled book. Wonder is a sort of perennial optimist, deeply curious, a seeker, we might call it if we were in adult form, human form. And Lynda, he cannot not stop seeking. It's just like
authors cannot not stop writing. Absolutely.
That's kind of it. Some things you just got to do, Lynda.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Now, one of the things, and I'm not sure if you just took poetic license with this or if this is something that actually goes on. For those of you that are listening to the show, of course, Amazon is my go-to place when I'm chatting about a book, so that way people can log on to Amazon. And what I really like about it is they have that wonderful feature, look inside. But one of the things that caught my attention on your Amazon page, Ron, is that when you in the description of the book, you put on here, this is what you wrote, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that happens. During his first adventure, he is saved, and we're talking about wonder, he is saved from a hungry owl by a wise crow. So owls are strong enough to attack goats, or was that poetic license?
Well, actually, if you take a good-sized owl and a smallish goat, at the point this happened, he was still, he was more than a kid, but he was young. And they are extraordinarily powerful creatures. They have as much as an 8 or 9 foot wingspan. The great owls of the West and Southwest, and so they're pretty remarkable and powerful animals.
Oh, okay, great. I had no clue. I actually saw, and this is a little off topic, but I remember watching a video like a couple of months ago where there were a group of people at the stand, they were watching a football game or whatever, and there was a 2 or 3 year old toddler that I guess it was a hawk. Did you see that? And he grabbed him and tried to take off with him. Oh my goodness!
And so that toddler had to be, I don't know. I mean, if we're talking about the same clip, that toddler had to be, I don't know, 25, 30, 35 pounds, and it was a large predator too. And so they are remarkably powerful.
I had no clue that they could actually pick up something, 4 or 5 times their weight?
Well, in this case, he's a pretty smallish goat at this point in the story, and so, and in fact, he always remains small. He's not a large goat, and of course, metaphorically, isn't that like that's the heart of fiction, right? Is you characterize a strong and brave and noble creature, but in small form. That's sort of classic fictional strategy, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me ask you a question, Ron. Was it difficult writing writing the voices for the characters since they were animals, as opposed to writing voices for characters that are people? Does that make sense?
It does. You know, it's interesting, and since you write, I mean, I know you'll the piece of this will resonate with you. You know, once you've kind of identified the nature of the character, in terms of being in character, it's not so hard. The challenge in this case, excuse me, was really trying to figure out, so how might a shape-shifting mystical crow speak? I mean, what kind of language might he have? And so I came up with a rather, I mean, the way Matt Crack speaks is he often talks in riddles. Most of it is incomplete sentences. It's punctuated with groks and crocs and arcs and everything else. And so the hard part was figuring out how I wanted to reflect how I imagined him, even though I understood the character well. And Wonder had to be rather innocent, so there's a childlike innocence to him. And interestingly enough, one of the really fun parts, Lynda, was Wonder meets a number of characters, animal characters throughout the story, and each and every one was this opportunity to imagine, so who is this character and how might an otter behave? How might a macaw behave? And so it was a tremendously interesting exercise in trying to understand what an animal, perhaps if we were to anthropomorphize it, what an animal might be like on the inside, and that was particularly fun, and in a couple of instances rather challenging.
Oh, I can imagine. So tell me, Ron, how are you promoting your book?
This is the kind of classic. I was lucky to Terra Nova, my publisher for this and Killer's Grace. Terra Nova was really, really good about getting me into distribution throughout essentially the whole distribution network. So it's available through all bookstores. But like most as yet undiscovered but really, really good authors, I'm sure that includes you and me both. Everything you can get off the Amazon platform, everything you can do through social media. I was really lucky to find some really, really good people to help me with the social media outreach. And so that has been incredibly valuable, just helping me tap into things, which, as you well know, I mean, unless you're a famous author who gets a seven-figure advance, most publishers aren't willing to invest much in marketing unknown or relatively small-scale authors, even if the work is really good.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, Ron, from what I've been told, because not only am I a podcaster and an author, but I also, and that's another thing that I'm going to stop doing too, but I was also being a book coach and assisting authors with the books. However, we discovered that even a big name, like a big name person, if this is your first time writing a book, they're going to tell you, the traditional publishers will tell you, go online, get your book out there, preferably in ebook format. Build your network, build your audience, and then get back with us. Exactly. The sad thing is, like you said, unless you're a Stephen King or someone like that, you're not going to get the perks that these big time publishers or authors get. So you have to do a lot of the work yourself. And like you said, and one thing I have to commend you on, because we're really big on this show about making sure that we do the right thing so that we can get our work out there. You did your Amazon page, your Amazon Central page. That is amazing.
Thank you. We for all the reasons you just described, and again, thank goodness for some excellent help from folks I found. We knew that if we didn't have a good presence, we just didn't stand a chance. I mean, somebody told me recently there's 400,000 books published every year in the U.S. And you go, 400,000 books. So, I mean, you've got to have a good presence, you've got to have a good look, and yeah, the network part has been. I fortunately, as a result of a lot of speaking and workshops I had done in my ongoing practices, a lot of spiritual communities that are familiar with me, I had kind of a natural network to expand into. I can only imagine how hard it is if you're kind of starting cold. Even if you got a great book, I mean, it's a challenge getting traction.
It is. But, you know, one of the things that I try to promote on this show, Ron, especially with new authors, is how important it is to do your research, even before you start the book. Make sure that there's an audience for what you're going to write about. I think the most disheartening thing is to put your blood, sweat, and tears and money into a book and nobody wants to read it. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say the good news is I was able to find my audio clip, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, author Ronald Chapman is going to read an excerpt from his book, My Name is Wonder, A Tale of Adventure. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
PrimeStar Publicity and Public Relations is a full-service firm ready to fill the needs of their clients. Owner Helen Cook has more than 32 years of publicity, public relations, advertising, and marketing experience, and she focuses her professional talents on working with her clients' strengths to create customized, strategic campaigns, whether their needs are great or small. Radio, TV, print, internet, publicity, marketing, creating a social media presence, branding, client positioning, author tours, speaking events. These are just some of the services PrimeStar provides for their clients. For a complete list of services and other information about the company, please visit our website, www.primestarpublicity.com, or email Helen at helen.cook@primestarpublicity.com, or phone 903-654-0938. PrimeStar's home office is located in the Houston, Texas area. PrimeStar Publicity and Public Relations is a full-service.
All right. So welcome back to the show. As you can see, we're still dealing with some technical difficulties here. So for those of you that listen to the show on a regular basis, yes, that is not my regular intro. Not sure how it disappeared out of my studio, out of my switchboard, but I will try to find it and upload it for tomorrow's episode. Okay, so now we're back, and again, author Ronald Chapman is going to read an excerpt from his book, My Name is Wonder, A Tale of Adventure. Ron, can you tell us what page and what chapter you're going to be reading from?
Sure. I'm beginning on page 47, just to set the scene for the next chapter that begins on page 48. And just a little bit of background. He and Wonder and Mac Crack have taken off on this spiritual trek, and they're a few days out from the farm where they started, kind of finding their way. And so, with that, how about I begin right here, Lynda?
Absolutely.
Bluffs behind him, a movement to his left drew his attention. When Wonder saw what lurked there, he held his breath. 2 coyotes emerged from deep grasses, red tongues lolling, eyes darting. They watched Wonder with great interest and obvious hunger. Wonder pressed against the warm stone of the bluff. He felt a twinge of fear as the coyotes split up. His gaze darted between them, trying to track both at once. The larger moved stealthily in a curved path to bring it slightly to Wonder's side, while the other moved in a crouch toward the bluff to attack the goat's flank. All the while, the coyote's stares never wavered, focusing intently on their prey. The young goat quivered with fear, but he realized that the fear did him no good. So he named it to himself, just as his mentor Oren had taught him, and he set the fear aside. He made himself go quiet and still inside, inhabiting only the moment. Clarity came to him, and he realized what he needed to do. He turned his head to fearlessly stare at the coyote at his flank, and then looked to the other. He spoke with conviction. "My name is Wonder, but I am not that." The coyotes glanced at each other, puzzled, and then Wonder charged. The coyote in front of him tilted its head in surprise, never expecting its prey to act so aggressively. It didn't move fast enough as the goat's rapid strides carried him toward a collision. Wonder lowered his head to butt his foe. Then, just before Wonder crashed into the coyote, a black flash dropped like a stone from the sky with a fierce cry. "Grawk!" The coyote leaped sideways to dodge the assault from above. Wonder slammed at full force, striking a few inches behind the coyote's shoulder. The snap of ribs cracking was immediately followed by a pained yelp as the coyote tumbled to the ground. Wonder whirled to face the second coyote. Its yellow eyes flitted between the goat and the crow above, seemingly unsure which was the bigger threat. Wonder quickly repositioned himself so he could face the smaller coyote while watching the first as it dragged itself to its feet. Wonder prepared for another charge, but McCrack got there first. A ferocious cry rang, and again the black form flashed through the air. The second coyote was prepared and tried to snap at the crow. Yet McCrack, moving at a seemingly impossible speed, altered his course and scraped his claws across the coyote's eyes. The crow wheeled away, cackling insults as a few black feathers floated to the ground. The coyote slung itself low to the ground and whimpered. Wonder spoke with determination again. "My name is Wonder, but I am not that, and I am not afraid." The coyotes began a slinking, limping retreat, glancing furtively from the sky to the goat as they crept away. "Grawk! Run, coy dogs!" McCrack swept low over Wonder and said, "Quick! Go, now!" The goat galloped away, following the crow's path overhead. As he escaped the narrow passage, he heard a mournful, bitter howl. Glancing over his shoulder, he saw the yellow eyes of the disappointed coyotes watching their dinner escape. Wonder raced down the gentle slope, and soon the sounds of stones buried beneath the soil thudded against his hooves, signaling his arrival in the valley. McCrack flew over a small stand of trees, and Wonder rushed through them to the side of the stream. The crow urged him into the current and slightly upstream to a small islet covered with dense thicket. Wonder threaded his way into the center of the thicket, where a small trickle ran. It was an excellent and well-protected place for Wonder to halt. As he bent to quench his thirst, McCrack lit on a branch a sturdy cottonwood to survey their surroundings. After drinking his fill, Wonder lay in the water to cool off. Well, he thought, it didn't kill me, so surely I must be stronger.
Oh.
And that is the end of the chapter, and you get a sense of the unusualness of the crow and the uncharacteristic character of the goat.
It's amazing, Ron. Amazing story. I was sitting here going, "Oh my God, what's going to happen?" Ron, I really hope that you are looking into turning this into an audiobook and possibly doing the narration. I don't know if I spooked you a copy of the Author Chat's Guide to Converting Your Book into an Audiobook. Did you get that from your publisher?
I did not.
I will send those to you. That one, and also, and that's my next question to you, because I also have a book, and I send these books. So for those of you that were interested in coming on the show before my last broadcast of May, I do have a couple of slots open. I also send out copies of How to Promote Your Book on a Shoestring Budget. That's been on Amazon's bestsellers list. How to Partner with Your Library and Sell More Books. Do you have your books in your local library, Ron?
I have it in a couple of libraries, actually.
Awesome. Okay, and then I have, like I said, how to convert it into a published book, and then how to maximize your radio interviews to just expand your audience. So I'll get those out to you, because this is going to be a magnificent audiobook.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to doing it. Actually, I have since I'm a speaker as well. And used to do some radio too, just like you. I like using my voice.
You have a wonderful voice, so thank you for using it.
Sure enough.
You really do. You really do. Seriously, you have a wonderful narrative voice, and the books that I'm going to send you is going to tell you. Believe it or not, we use Audio Book Exchange, which is ACX.
Yeah.
It's a division of Amazon, and they actually show you how to do it yourself if you want to record it yourself. So I'll
really?
make sure that. Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
I think I have your email address, so I'll try to send it right to you.
Sure, and
Ron,
I will. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Please.
I was going to say
go ahead.
I'll send you a follow-up note just as soon as we're done, so that you have my email fresh and ready,
Wonderful.
waiting for you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, the next question that I'd like to ask you, because we're running out of time, is: are you currently working on another book?
I am. I'm actually working on 2 books. One is a sequel to A Killer's Grace, which was my serial killer book, which is the dark story that contrasts with this light-filled story of wonder. I'm working on a sequel to that, and then there is a prequel to the sequel that is actually finished, but I can't do anything with it till I finish the sequel. And I'm 40% done or thereabouts, and the publisher would like me to get done, but it takes time. So I've got a couple of them in the hopper, and and it just takes time, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Any appearances or any place online where our listening audience can connect with you, Ron?
Well, as a matter of fact, if they go to my home site, ronaldchapman.com, they can certainly connect with me and track down everything I'm doing. Interestingly enough, if they'd like to track me down on Facebook, I'm actually going to be doing a Facebook party for readers sometime in April. It's a whole new thing. I've never done one of these before, but my publicist, has showed me. So we're going to do a Facebook party where people get to show up and interact and have a conversation with me digitally and win prizes, including copies of the book. And so if they can track me down either through ronaldchapman.com or find me on Facebook, I'm happy to let them know what's going on.
Absolutely. If you or Maury send me that information, I will post it on our Facebook, Author Chat Facebook page.
Excellent.
For more, and hopefully more people will attend and check that out. That sounds amazing.
Excellent. Well, I'd never heard about such a thing, but apparently this is part of the new, virtual book touring. I thought, well, I had no idea. So I'm game to try.
Absolutely. If you have a Twitter account, believe it or not, you have a lot of authors doing Twitter chats with their fans. So that's another revenue that you might want to look at. Exactly. Twitter chat.
I have not been doing it. I've been, it's one of those things where you try and figure out where your time's best spent, and the more social media, I mean, it's one of those things that you keep trying to balance and decide how much time you have for it, obviously. I also do a lot of ongoing blogging, transformational blogging, forgiveness and spiritual transformation on a site, seeingtrue.com, seeingtrue.com, for those who just like to find a lot of cool free material.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. In that email, send me all that. I'll post it along with this interview on our Author Chat Facebook page, so that way they can listen to the interview, check out your Amazon page, and then go look right on your website.
Outstanding. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Lynda.
Not a problem, Ron. And like you said, this is what I do. However, it has definitely taken away from my writing because like it's so time-consuming. But I saw the need with a lot of new authors coming on the horizon, and I knew that they needed a way to get their stuff out there. So I'm just happy that I was able to do it for 5.5 years. I'm on the podcast, Nick. My grandbaby. All right. So, hold on, Noah. Okay, so let's wrap this up before he comes barging in. Ron, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Any last words to our listening audience?
Just find stuff you love and read. It's probably one of those great gifts in our lives.
Exactly. I tell people that all the time. Reading is really fundamental. I mean, you get so much from it. It's just amazing to me that people don't want to read.
Nothing like a good escape into a really good book.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, Ron, thank you again for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. We wish you all the best with your book.
Thank you.
And I look forward to getting that information so we can post it on our Facebook fan page for you.
Send it out to you right now, Lynda. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you.
Not a problem. Thank you, and you get out and enjoy the rest of this Saturday.
Have a lovely evening and good weekend.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, that was author Ronald Chapman. Again, he is the author of the book, My Name is Wonder, A Tale of Adventure. The book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, anywhere where you purchase books. The Kindle version is currently $9.99, and the paperback is $15.72. We will be back here tomorrow, but we will be on Yahoo Live with a new author. So don't forget to tune in. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you next year. We'll catch you back here next time on the Author Chat Show. Bye-bye.
Progressive brings you Flowetry with Flo.
When Flo flows, she flows in the know. Mind ruminates the rates. Shown them all, I heed the call. Seeing the rest, I choose the best. Sometimes it's ours, sometimes it's not. When the fox walks, is it called a fox trot? That's a real question.
Compare Progressive Direct rates with competitors' rates. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. Progressive brings you Flowetry with Flo.
When Flo flows, she flows in the know. Mind ruminates the rates. Shown them all, I heed the call. Seeing the rest, I choose the best. Sometimes it's ours, sometimes it's not. When the fox walks, is it called a fox trot? That's a real question.
Compare Progressive Direct rates with competitors' rates. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.